Okay, I guess it's going. Okay, so last time we did slope-intercept, but we're going to do it the next 2 days also. We just did a part of it, right? We just did the part that's, you have an equation which is solved for y. You ought to be able to identify the slope and the y-intercept. In number 1, what was the slope? Where do you look for the slope? It's the coefficient, what you call the coefficient of x, right? So this is the slope, right? And that's no good. Let me do this. Usually fix it. Okay, this is slope. And what letter do we use to represent slope? Is m, right? Remember, the formula is y equals m times x plus b. The m is the slope. And what is the y-intercept on this one? -5, right? So this is the b, y-intercept. So you can follow through. The next one's easy. What's the slope of number 3? Right? You don't see a number, but you see the sign, so the m is -1. Okay, what's the slope of number 5? Why? Because it doesn't have an x, right? If there's no x, it's because you must have multiplied it by 0. But what kind of a line has that equation? It's a horizontal line, right? We know a horizontal line has a slope of 0, so that's what you get. Right? The graph would look like this, right, at -5. Would you say that's a function? Does a horizontal line pass a vertical line test? Yeah, it does. Okay, let's see, which is another good one. So which other one is a horizontal line? Yeah, the 2.25, right, slope of 0. Any vertical lines here? Why would you not get a vertical line? Yeah, a vertical line has to be x equals. And x equals cannot be slope-intercept form, right? So you're never going to see, in something that's about slope-intercept form, you're never going to see a vertical line. Okay, so now if you get the slope and the y-intercept, can you write the equation? So it's just the reverse of what we just did. How about the first one? What would be the equation? Yeah, y equals, and take the -1 is the slope, but usually you wouldn't write the 1, so -x plus 3. So I think we can get that one, and we can get that one, and we can get that one. How about the number 14? What's that going to look like? Y equals -11, right? Because the 0 slope is going to cancel out the x term, right? Y equals -11. And the last one, what is that going to look like? Y equals 1x, which is x, plus at the 3/8, plus 3/8. Okay, so if you're given the slope and the y-intercept, you should be able to go backwards on that. And then what if you have a graph? Could you come up with the slope and the y-intercept and therefore the equation by looking at the graph? If you're looking at number 1, here's the x-axis right here, right there. What is the y-intercept? It looks like it's +1. So the b equals 1. And now you got to figure the slope. That'll be the harder part. Pick some place where the line crosses intersection of grid lines, maybe like right there. And then try to figure out how much are you going up and down, how much are you going left and right, rise over run. How much are you going up and down? It looks like you're going up and down. The rise is 2. And how much are you going left and right? 1. So the m is 2 over 1, which is 2. So write the equation. 2x plus 1. Okay. What's the y-intercept of that one? Yeah, the y-intercept is -5. The slope is 0, so that is y equals -5. Okay, this one has a negative slope, right? Because it's going down from left to right. What is the y-intercept? +4. B is 4. And now we've got to figure out the slope. It looks like between, let's say, these 2 points. That's my pen. What is the rise and what is the run? The rise is, it's actually going down. It's not rising. So it's -1, and then the run is 2. So the m is -1/2. So what is the equation? -1/2 x plus 4. Right? And today what we do is we take the next step, which is, if you're given 2 points, how can you make the equation of a line? And there's 2 steps to it, maybe 3, right? First step is you need to know the slope. So do we know how to find the slope if you know 2 points? Yeah, we have a formula for that. M equals the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Right? So do that first, and that's what they've done. I'm just showing you their work already. Right? -8 minus 1 is in the numerator because it's the y's. 5 minus 2 is in the denominator. Simplify. Right? Now we get -8 minus 1 is -9. 5 minus 2 is 3. -9 over 3 is -3. So first step, calculate the slope. Right? You're going to have to do 2-3 steps in a row here to get this answer. Second step. Right? Now that you know the slope, you're going to use the slope and one of these points. It doesn't matter which one. You could pick which one. Which one do you think would be easier to use in calculations? 2, 1, or 5, -8? I think 2, 1. Numbers are smaller, no negatives. Probably an easier point to use in the calculation. So in the y equals mx plus b, you're going to plug in for y, m, and x, which you know all of those. You calculated the m, it's -3, and the point you just said is going to be 2, 1. So that's what we're doing here. Y is 1, slope is -3, x is 2. So the only thing you don't know is b. Solve for b. Right? Maybe they've missed a line here, but that would have been 1 equals -6 plus b, add 6, b equals 7. So step 1, we calculated the slope. Step 2, we calculate the y-intercept. Now that you know them, write the equation. What is the equation here? -3x plus 7. Done. Right? So it's 3 steps. Find the slope. Use the mx plus b with the slope and one of these points, and you'll get the same answer, whichever one you use. Find the b, and then plug in. Right? That's the equation. Let's try it again. This one without the steps all written out. So again, step 1 is find the slope. What is the slope between those 2 points? -3 minus -2 in the numerator. 1 minus 3 in the denominator. Simplify. What's -3 minus -2? It's like -3 plus 2, which is -1. Okay, what's 1 minus 3? Okay, what's -1 over -2? What do you do with the negatives? They cancel each other out. Like when you multiply a negative times a negative, you get a positive. Same thing for division. Negative over negative means positive. Okay, now what do we do? That was first step, find the slope. plug it into this, right? Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so the 1/2 is going to go here. And then we need to pick one of these 2 points, and you could pick either one. Which one do you think would be easier, Devin? 3, -2? Or this one? 1, -3? Okay, 1 is usually easier in calculations, especially if you have to multiply. All right, so this will be, I'm substituting this for my x and my y. So -3 equals 1/2 times 1 plus b. Solve. Right? This will be -3 equals 1/2 plus b. Isolate the b. What am I going to do to solve for the b? Subtract 1/2. So in this case, b equals, what's -3 minus 1/2? -3.5. I mean, that you could leave it like that, at least for now. Okay, now that we know the m, right? Here's m. Here's b. Write the equation. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3.5. Or 3.5 if you want. Or 7/2 if you want. Any of them. I use this whenever I have to like scale a test. Let's say, for example, I was going to use the SOL to be a test grade in my Algebra 2 class. Well, the SOL scale is different, right? It goes up to 600. What's the minimum passing grade on the SOL? It's 400, right? And minimum grade in our class, so it's 64. So I would make myself a graph that looks like this. I would say, here's the SOL score, right? And here's the grade in the class. And what I know for sure is that at 400 on the SOL scale, it better go up to 64 on my scale, right? There should be a point which is 64, sorry, it should be 400, 64. Okay, now let's say I'm going to use this scale I'm going to say that anything that's passing but not pass advanced, or just say pass advanced starts an A, okay? So what is the minimum A? Well, pass advanced is 500, right? And in our grading system, an A is 90, right? So I know I've got that point there too. So that would give me the point 500, comma 90. So I know I want to make a linear scale in between the SOL scores of 400 and 500 that translate those into grades that I could put in the grade book. So I'm going to do with these 2 points, I'm going to do exactly what we just did right there. Exactly. And then I use my calculator, and I'm going to put that on the y equals line and just have it generate. It'll do all of those for me. So it's very practical. Now, I have not done that with the SOL scores. I have done it when I was teaching AP stats. You know the scale for like getting a 5 on AP stats, the minimum percentage that gets you a 5, which is the highest score, 63%. Right? The minimum B is 49, I think, maybe 47. Or 4 on the scale. The minimum 3 is like 39, and then it's 27. 27% on the test still gets you a 2. Yeah, a 2. I mean, somehow when you're giving tests in that class, you get these scores that are like sometimes pretty low. But the reality is that when if they did the same on their AP test, I mean, they'd be getting 3, 4s, and 5s, which is passing. So somehow you got to convert those grades using that, just using that. So that's all we're doing today. That's it. I don't want to make 2 things on there. The next class we're going to graph given a slope-intercept form of a line, which is really important. We're doing on the same page the next section of problems, 19 through 27. And just to get you started, I'm going to do the 19, or we can do the 19 first, just so you got the first one on the piece of paper. right? So given the 2 points, what am I going to do first? I mean, remember, the only thing you can do with 2 points is calculate a slope. So do that first. Right. What is the slope between these two? I'm going to use this as my x2, y2, and this is going to be my x1, y1. Just because I can see it'll lead to all positive numbers. So my y2 minus y1 will be 5 minus 4. My x2 minus x1 will be 3 minus 0. So the slope is 1/3. Okay, now what do I do with the slope? Remember, step 1 is find the slope. Step 2 is you're going to find the y-intercept. But how do you find the y-intercept? Yeah, and what do we plug them into? Y equals mx plus b, right? So we're going to use the y equals mx plus b. And we're going to plug in. Now, which point do you think you want to plug in? Because you could pick your phone. Okay, let's say we pick the 3 5s, right? Then we're going to have 5 for y. We calculated a slope of 1/3. And the x is 3. So 5 equals, what is 1/3 times 3? It's 1. So b equals 4. Okay, so now with the slope of 1/3 and a y-intercept of 4, the equation is 1/3 x plus 4. Now, this is one of those cases where, in fact, they gave you the y-intercept. How do you know that that's the y-intercept? The 0, 4, how do you know it's the y-intercept? Because x equals 0, right? On the y-axis, x equals 0. So, in fact, you really didn't need to do the calculation. You kind of knew already that the y-intercept was going to be 4. I don't think any of the rest of the problems are that way, but this is what you want to be doing. For all these problems, the same thing. Calculate the slope, use y equals mx plus b, plug in the slope and one of those points, calculate the b, there's your equation. Finito.